Hey, welcome to the 516th episode of Just Shoot It, a podcast about filmmaking, screenwriting, and directing. This episode is brought to you by patron Brian Hoff. I'm Matt Enlow.
And I'm Warren Kaplan, and today we have Sarah May Bates and Susan Song on the podcast. Sarah May was on the podcast a few years ago to talk about commercial directing and narrative directing and a lot of different directing. She was part of a duo, and now she's doing some more directing, and part of what she's kind of dabbling in is some AI stuff. And her friend, Susan Song, who is also an actor, accomplished actor. I had a lot of questions for Sarah, and Sarah thought, oh, hey, why don't I just go on a podcast, answer these questions for Susan and Matt and Oren, and kind of do this all in one fell swoop, and maybe she can point people to this podcast episode to get the answers.
If my smart actor friend Susan has these questions, then I bet lots of other actors have similar questions. And maybe we can shed light on the way that, on what Sarah's noticed, the trends in the industry and the way things are changing and evolving and the ways that maybe they're staying more the same than we realize in the world of AI commercial directing. She's kind of on the bleeding edge and working pretty actively in that space.
Yeah. And she definitely is working, at least from our conversation, it seems like she's working in like the Hollywood friendly route. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, let's check in with SAG on this. Let's check in with the DGA or whatever, all the different kind of people on what she's doing and trying to do things ethically, but also not ignoring the fact that the tools of the trade are changing and changing fast. And, everyone I talked to, not just Sarah, I just talked to an editor friend of ours that I just saw on the street, and he's like, oh yeah, they're just like, all the temp ADR is now just being done by AI. And he's like, I was trying to fight it forever, but execs heard it and they're like, oh, this sounds great. They're still hiring actors for the final edit, but they're not bringing them into temp stuff, I guess, or the editors aren't temping things themselves. And I don't know. I'm still on the fence of whether it's a tool or a job replacement. Yeah. Or is there a difference? Like when we got our, Panasonic DVX 100, did that kill the film loader? So who knows?
Yeah, well, we have a great conversation. I can't say that we definitively come to any of those big answers, but we ask a lot of questions, and Sarah has a lot of really interesting insight. I think I do want to reiterate your point, Oren, that I think Sarah is coming at it from a place of really working with major brands and real budgets. And so I think the calculus is very specific for her on when it makes sense for something to be AI and when not. That is a different beast than scrolling on social media and seeing someone say we're cooked, and then Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are punching each other or something like that. And I think that a lot of our frame of reference is those clips that are designed to go social or to go viral, that are really socially conceived and are meant to feel different, that feel like, oh, one edgelord in their basement made this over a weekend with like a bunch of dumb prompts or whatever. She's working in a very different idiom.
Yeah, that are built out of like all IP, stolen IP.
Sure.
As well.
Yeah, or not. Some, like I see a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that's like, I really tasked myself to make a compelling story with these tools, and here's what I made. Not to those people, I think, are doing interesting experiments, perhaps, but Sarah is coming at it from a space where people are prompt engineering, and like she has a team of people kind of working actively, and she's burning through tokens at a different speed than one guy in $250 worth of credits is doing, basically. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, just as a qualifier.
Yeah, but it is a potential pathway for the future.
Absolutely.
For filmmakers.
Maybe.
So
or the end of us all, who knows?
Yes, one of those two. Well, let's get into it. It's a fun conversation, and I think you guys it'll raise some fun questions.
But before we raise those fun questions, I've got one question for you, Oren. Let's raise the budget of the show. Oren, are you a Patreon member? No, you're not. Of our Patreon. Yeah.
Well, more than you are.
Is that true? How so?
My wife is a member.
That's true. Yeah. So your bank account is a member of Patreon.
Yeah.
She canceled it a long time ago, didn't she?
I don't know. I never asked her to cancel it.
I think it's no longer. I think your credit card changed.
Something. That can be.
Yeah, I don't
you
think
stole my credit card.
Yeah,
I had to cancel.
Yeah. I was just in Aruba for a while. I went to Switzerland. It was great. Patreon.com/justshootitpod is a place where you can throw us $1 or $2 to support the show. It is truly meaningful. We are doing all sorts of stuff to grow the community. We've got some giveaways coming up that are going to be really exciting. We're going to throw more events like we've been doing in the past. And Patreon is the lifeblood of this show. If we did not have Patreon, we would not have Just Shoot It. So if you're getting something out of the show, if you've learned a thing or two, if you want to contribute to the community in some way, patreon.com/justshootitpod is a place where you can support the show and keep it going.
Yeah. And someone was just texting me about, Yuki was just asking me when the next event is.
We should throw one.
Yeah.
And we might give away something real cool.
Oh yeah. We have some good stuff coming up. Okay. Here we go.
Then.
Sarah and Susan. So is the format going to be Susan's going to ask you questions and then we'll just like...
Kind of. Well, Susan and I worked together. We were chit-chatting at lunch one day, and Susan's an actress, very talented. And she was like, you work in AI. What is the future? Am I going to have a job? Am I like, these auditions have gone down dramatically? And I'm like, everybody in Hollywood right now is feeling the same thing. It's like the jobs have completely dramatically reduced and everybody's freaking out and everybody's kind of thinking it's AI and is it gone for good? And like, how can I pivot? How can I evolve? What are the ways that actors can change the way they work? I'm curious though, Matt and Oren, like, have you guys had like kind of a similar freak out? And like, have you noticed people changing the way they ask for treatments? Like, has AI
treatments
entered?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so to answer, like, Oren freaks out daily.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are just our roles, like, as a duo.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm the freak out one.
Oren's freaking out. And like, every once in a while I get nauseous and want to die. But like, for the most part, I've got a handful of arguments that I make that, assuage my fears a little bit. Basically centering around like human connectivity and the effectiveness of these ads and all of that stuff. So I think that we'll probably land in some version of, a hybrid model, basically, where not everything is 100% AI, but like that we're absolutely using it on the daily all the time, but like it's not a full supplement of what we are doing. Is kind of my hope and hunch. Yeah.
Totally.
Can I tell you guys a weird, tiny little story? Which is my daughter is in 4th grade and she's taking this stop motion animation class. And so they all, everyone's parents have iPads and, they all installed this app on their iPad and they're taking one photo at a time. And I kind of showed her like, if you take some Legos and you like just move them, and, they're learning stop motion animation, whatever. But today she's like, hey, Dad, I want to make like a short film. Can we just like pull up ChatGPT and have it draw a bunch of frames for us and then we can like take photos of each one? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, how are you going to learn? Like, let's just draw a bunch of stick figures, so I don't know. I do feel like there's a little groundswell today too. We got pitched like some AI artist or something like for the 10th time. And I'm like, we do not want to talk about AI anymore.
I think what happened, honestly, truly, and this is like a perfect counterpoint. I think that because we posted an episode that had the conversation about AI, that all of a sudden a bunch of bots scanned our podcast and said, "Oh, they must be an AI podcast," and so we're constantly getting pitched without any context or understanding.
Oh no! I mean,
do wonder if
are you going to get more of that now?
Yes, because ChatGPT is like reading all these probably transcripts of millions of podcasts and saying, "Oh, Oren and Matt are a great place to talk about AI." So, I mean, I think there is a pushback, and like even like my parents yesterday were like, "These Waymos that came to visit us, and all these self-driving cars are just like kind of really annoying because you can't even get mad at them because there's no one to like flip off or anything."
No one.
I think there is like a little bit of a groundswell that's just gonna like kind of getting annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, we are recording this. We are recording this Monday, February 9th, the day after the Super Bowl. And like, I went to a Super Bowl party with lots of friends, mixed company, some filmmakers, but many, many just like civilians. And the AI groans and complaints were so much that I had to leave the room. I was like, I don't need to have this conversation. Like, you guys don't understand. Like,
Also, all the money I put into AI stocks last week is down 20%. So
Oh, yeah.
Everything's down.
Yeah.
AI it's really, that's it. Podcast over. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to your episode with Sergio, and I know you guys were, concerned about AI and like if you directors are going to have a job, and it sounded like you guys were like, yeah, we're good on that aspect, right?
Sure. Lots of false confidence there.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
and the scope may change or whatnot, but then I was like, well, still as an actor, like I don't know, like I still have. We're kind of like, I mean, it depends obviously on what type of commercial it is, and if it's a human or performance driven commercial or whatnot.
Sure.
But there's still some fears on my end where I could see AI just taking over a lot of that.
And it's like, this is like my living, this is what I do. I want to do a job this month. I want to do a new job this month. I want to get excited by something else the following month. And I want this industry to exist. And my joy, I love my job. I love being on set and I love shooting and I love working with people. And like what it means for humanity is like much less important to me than that I have a career that I like and that I can go to set and be with people and that I can get free food.
Yeah, well, I think there is also a little bit of like, you want Los Angeles to thrive and be the city that we love too. You know what I mean? Like there's something special about the sun rising as you're driving into set and you see all of your buddies and the guy makes your burrito the right way. And, like you're passing trucks on the street and,
taking Polaroids in front of the Hollywood sign.
Sure.
That's my fear. It's nothing like moral or ethical or, it's like being a coal miner when freaking electric vehicles are coming out. Those two things aren't connected to each other. But like nuclear power plants, it's like, maybe what we do is not actually that important. Maybe being a grip, I was a dolly grip for like a couple of years. I boom op, like maybe those jobs don't need to exist, but I like that they exist and I like to be with those people and I like hanging out with them and I like the hierarchy on sets and the stories and the, finding, like a sound guy that's, hotboxing the grip truck.
It is our culture. Do you know what I mean? They are our people. And so
And so I'm afraid that's going to go away. But I do use AI all the time. And I'm like, I do it in crazy ways. I'm like, this performance. I worked with a kind of famous person that does not act recently and did not really like the performance and was not really given an opportunity to do much about it on set by their people. And I'm like, can I feed this person's voice from one VO read into 11 labs and create a voice clone and do the performance myself in their voice and
I would use
fix this thing, like I'm all for it. And we shot on green screen and it's like, we need a very specific background, like that would be very expensive to do in Maya or whatever.
Yeah.
And to render it out and let's AI. But on the other hand, I've gone with like our VFX artists like 50 times. We've done 1,000 generations and none of them are quite exactly what we want, So, I don't know. I appreciate it. I think it's super neat. And I used to be an engineer. So it's like, to me, like the tech stuff is exciting, but I would happily trade it for the security and safety and comfort of knowing that the people I work with will still have jobs 5 years from now.
I think about I'm worried about the same thing. I'm worried about so many industries too, outside of even ours. It's like, I think it's...
Yeah, like the Uber drivers, like how pissed off would you be if like you're surrounded by 20 Waymos or like DoorDash drivers? My street is just filled with freaking little robots.
Those robots suck.
Yeah, and they have like red and blue lights. Every time I come to my house, I'm like, am I getting arrested? Nope. It's just
I'm not a violent person, but I do
delivered.
fantasize just like kicking those things over or setting them on fire all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I think it's
those guys like to hang out with each other. Sometimes I'll be driving down Beverly and you're...
Yeah, and they have like cuter names than our kids. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's like Etienne is here with your pad thai. Yeah. What I was saying earlier is like as directors in Hollywood, like a reason someone would come to Sarah or Matt would be like, hey, the casting directors and the actors and you go to UCB shows and you've seen these, you worked with it. Like the fact that we have access to people like you, Susan, is like part of why someone would come to us and makes us valuable. And so once it's like, we just like type, a Susan song type into the...
So the flip side to that is like any person who's ever directed, especially something dialogue driven, and been like, you learn how hard it is to get a person who's thoroughly trained and understands all the context and understands what it is to be a person, how to get them to say the line the way you want them to say it. Like imagine trying to get a robot to do that. Feels a little trickier for sure. Sarah, I'm curious though.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And like, in my opinion, it's the exact same thing as VFX. I think of it as exactly the same tool set. It's just a lot more efficient for certain things and cheaper for certain things. But it's definitely like oven mitts. I think of it as like working with like, you know, I can get roughly what I want in certain cases, but I always have to use traditional posts in addition. Like there's no getting around that. But it's, for me, the use cases are very specific. You know, it's like I'm going to use it for rotoscoping, or I'm going to use it for a background replacement, or I'm going to use it for like expanding the scene. It's like for those things, I'm like, of course I would use it. Why would I not? It's like, why would you not get the new version of Premiere? I don't see like why. But outside of that, the ramifications of it are 100% earth shattering and terrifying. So I get why people are like, no, I'm not going to believe it, because it's pretty terrifying. I mean, it's like so overwhelming how fast it changes and how big the implications are for job replacement. So I get why it's like something that people just really want to hate and like draw a line in the sand to not use. But at the same time, I'm like, that also disables you from possibly surviving, you know? So that's my MO, is like, I'm trying to stay on top of all of it and see what it can be used for, but also stay completely centered around my ethics and what I believe and like why I work with people and why I like art and why I'm passionate about what I do. So same person is steering the ship. It's just now I have a bunch of new tools that do a lot of crazy stuff. So I was trying to tell Susan about this because she's like, well, what does this mean for talent and the acting? And I'm like, it means the exact same thing. We still need people who are characters, who like create the character. I'm still going to go and cast people to create a character who breathe the life into that character, because that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is I'm trying to be original. That's not going to change. How I use your footage and how I shoot your footage will be very different in a lot of circumstances, because what I've noticed on the creative director side, so like as you guys know, I have fractured roles in my life, and one of them is I head up our AI production at my agency, and I'm a group creative director. So I do creative as well, develop creative as well as direct. On this side, what we're doing is we're developing a lot of pipelines that allow us to create, I would call it a funnel. So it's like a lot of work that could be targeted to an audience can now be targeted to an audience. And that is where these tools, I think, are appropriate. So I feel like when we're versioning things, it's awesome. I'm not...
And give us a specific use case on, say, versioning, right?
Let's say you wanted something to be in... We have a market that's out in the East Coast, and it needs to be in the snow, and it needs to be in a different aspect ratio. Those are like great ways to just transition whatever footage you have into that setting. And
so
then
you've got your surfer talking about, you know, how great this deal is, and bing, bang, boom, all of a sudden now he's a snowboarder and like there's a mountain behind him. Is that kind of...
I mean, you could do that.
But I guess I'm saying, are you, not you specifically, but are you seeing that in the workspace?
I don't know if you guys watched, Susan and I were just talking about that Toyota. It was a Toyota spot, right? She was like, is this AI? And because one of the great things that AI is so good at is like face swapping. It's like what would have taken a very long time in, you know, CG, like the Benjamin Button technology is like pretty freaking great with like the like off the shelf tools. And so that Toyota spot with the athletes, with their like baby cells, I would guess they used AI, because it'd be kind of crazy not to.
There's a Jurassic Park spot too, right? Like where they're younger versions of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's
which I thought did look pretty weird, to be honest.
That did look weird too, but I agree. But I'm like, they're kind of, you know, if you have a like 2-week timeline, it's kind of similar using traditional CG. A lot of like, I'm sure you guys know, like a lot of film studios are using all of the tools for all of these things and have been for a while.
Yeah. Every VFX house I talk to is like just deep into AI tools. But, I don't know. It's just weird. Even like the rotoscoping, like, oh, awesome. Now I don't even need a green screen. I'll just shoot someone, in my living room, and then I'll relight them to be standing outside, is great. But you are like 250 people in India are out of a job, that they've like just fought their way to get.
I would argue it has created so many jobs. The amount of work we do now is exponentially more.
So then do you
it's like an
think that
full opposite curve,
Yes,
different
Well,
jobs.
so then-
though.
is it like not, so is it not being used to cut costs or whatnot? Or it's just more for efficiency? And then, like at the end of the day, how does it balance in terms of costs?
In my experience, it has created so much more work. Like I do
people,
10 million times more work. The people that I work with are doing 10 million times more work. It's way more output. I don't see that
Right,
it's
right.
reduced
But
roles.
you're hiring different people. Like the people that were trained to rotoscope and nuke or silhouette or whatever you're not hiring those people anymore. Now you're hiring.
A lot of those people have pivoted to AI. So, I mean, most of the people I work with in this capacity are former VFX soups. So I would say, like, as you probably know, like a lot of the industries, like the way that they are training people is like you either have a background in like Flash or you have a background in like Nuke or Blender or Maya. It's like the interfaces are really similar. So it takes a very specific skill set. And the thing I noticed the most is it requires curiosity. Somebody that is really interested in trying things out and experimenting relentlessly. But it's it's almost the same job as a VFX supervisor or somebody that works in compositing. There's like overlap with all different jobs. And I think they're so incredible. Like what they can do is so incredible. If you know exactly what you want out of them, their capabilities are amazing. I don't know if you guys have met any of the guys from Obsidian, like Wes Walker, who used to be at Tool, started his own thing with, what's his face? From, God, let's forget his name. His daughter's in Jurassic Park, the new one.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. I'm like, he was on a show when he was a kid.
Opie.
I always wanted to say
sure.
Brian Grazer, but
Sure.
yeah. So he started a new production company that's like AI production, and their work is stunning. It is like absolutely gorgeous. And the new process is not necessarily going out and shooting on location, but you train LoRa's. But all of those assets are in camera. They're all like owned, beautiful, elegant assets. And then you're now making your world inside of a computer. So I think it all comes down to the individual.
And it seems like, Sarah, for you and what you're doing, a lot of it is VFX. And, we've had that conversation. I mean, even that NFL Toyota spot, those kids, are those, even though you had mentioned they probably cast kids and then did a face swap, but are those kids getting paid? Or, you know what I mean? Or are they?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to SAG, because every single thing, I mean, as you know, everything we do has to be vetted through SAG. SAG has lots of policies, and they're actually doing quite a few projects with directors using AI, or they have supported projects. And I think it's because it's like imminent. It's one of those things you can't step aside from. So it's like, how do you embrace it? What comes out of it as you embrace it? So a lot of the projects I think that use AI, quote, directors are using talent for the performance, for the action, for like the basis of what then will be overlaid with a character, for example, or relit or placed in a different location. But like we still need the like creativity, like the original, material. So like, I think the way actors are integrated is probably more similar to like gaming. If you think about like game movies, or motion capture, that kind of thing, it's sort of like that, where it's not exactly live action, but it's pretty close. But yeah, like SAG has,
I mean, I don't mean to be so negative, but I feel like, I mean, first of all, Matt and I do a lot of non-SAG jobs, like SAG is not a given on anything. And it's very easy to see a company saying like, well, why on earth would we work with SAG when we have these limitations? I want a crowd of 500 extras. I want a scene of a high school where every kid sings a different word of the song,
Totally.
like, hey, 10,000, SAG featured extras or whatever. So I feel like, I don't know. I guess, so I think SAG is doing what they can. I think they're always in danger. All the unions are, DGA, WJ, IATSE, of like overburdening corporations with their requirements to cut, like, I think
into
a lot of
obscurity, basically.
I think a lot of
Totally.
the LA production issues, stem from the strike and the recovery and a lot of
I
people just
completely agree.
saying
Completely
like,
agree.
hey, it's just like not that easy for me to work in LA. I just lost a location because of just all the extra things we needed for it. But the other thing to me, and I'm curious what your take on this, Sarah, and I'm sure I can guess Susan's take, but there's something exciting about what we do. You're going to be in Mamma Mia. You're going to go to Cinque Terre and you're going to film, at the Amalfi Coast, and you're going to sing with Meryl Streep and you're going to ride a horse and you're going to do all this stuff. And now Sarah Bates is like, oh, don't worry. We just send us a Zoom video of your head doing the performance. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to do the performance. Just give me your face, Like, to me, that's the fear. Like, I think there's still, I agree with you, Sarah, that and I think a lot of us that work in film think that the best movies come from this collaboration of 1,000 people. And that's what makes it good. But I think the direction that things are being pushed, especially when I am in Kentucky doing a non-union commercial and I have an actor that has the right look but doesn't have the right performance. And I'm like, I could just do the performance and just make their face do it. I think a lot of these auteur AI filmmakers are going to be edging out a lot of the thousands of people that we hire.
I don't necessarily agree. They're just tools, and it's like, what's the easiest way to get to the result? Sometimes the easiest way to get to the result is to shoot it. And I feel like if you're the auteur, you decide that.
Cool. So that's heartening to hear, and it's a thing that we've kind of been skirting around for all of these conversations, right? And certainly there is, on one end of the spectrum, I always joke, I do a lot of two guys on a couch, to get the comedic timing. How hard is it to find two funny actors on a couch and just, shoot it, right? That's easy. So that's one end of the spectrum. Especially if one of them is famous, right?
Yeah.
If it's two guys on a couch and one of them is Will Ferrell, we're just going to shoot it, right?
Yeah.
But the other end of the spectrum is like your Kalshi ad from the Super Bowl, where it's like you've got the Spartan army and pirates and people are running through, New England, something that would be so massive. It's meant to feel like, and I'm sure they probably used Christopher Nolan references in their prompts, right? That obviously would be so expensive that it would make more sense for a strapped startup to try and spend all of their money on the ad spot and the placement and not the actual production, right? So, but I'm curious where you think the line is, right? Because maybe it sounds like there's more time, we're more likely to shoot things than maybe we fear, which is really kind of what we're all anxious about.
Yeah, I feel like you will decide instead of meeting with your post house, you'll probably meet with your AI team post house, and you'll break out, how are you going to do it for the budget? And you'll say I want to do this scene for sure, live action, and then we'll composite this background. This location is 30% of the budget, so we're just going to do it in AI. And this one we're going to do on a green screen, and we're going to do the crowd in it. I don't know. I don't think they could possibly prompt that, because that's there's so much litigation. There's prompts have to be so stringent and cannot possibly, I'm not talking Mid-Journey where it's they're peace, whatever you want to do, you can do here. And we're not claiming we're not protecting anybody. We're not claiming anything, but on the other platforms, if you were to do that for a brand,
why wouldn't people just use that then?
Because your prompts become public. If you're doing that for a brand and it's paid, you can be called up in court and they can read your prompts and they can you can be sued by that artist. So it's for somebody to do that would be so incredibly dangerous. And I don't think any brands are entering into this arena unless it is so buttoned up the way it's produced. I mean, there are a lot of insurance policies that get taken out for the process of production in AI because of just how Wild West it is. So I mean, it feels like that's happening left and right. I would say it's probably happening left and right on social media. But for legitimate companies, I think most people have to be so buttoned up. But yeah, I think the line will be, if you think about it in terms of what is the ultimate creative goal? The ultimate creative goal is best achieved by looking at all your tools. And I know for myself, in just being a creative, I still want the best director on a new job. The end. And that director is going to ultimately decide, I really need the heart of this to be this person in this location. And like this scene, I really want it to be practical because I want to rig the camera in this place. And like for me to just decide, oh, I'm going to take that out of your hands, I'm going to generate it, it would never happen. You know what I mean? So I feel like auteurs are more important than they've ever been. And somebody having a style that is unique to themselves is more important than it's ever been. And also like memorable talent. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like just pitching shows, I look at all the people in my pitch deck and they're all people that I found through UCB or like Groundlings, or they're real on YouTube because it's them and that's who I want. It's not like I would never farm that out because why would I? My goal is to make something good, and that has not changed. I do think, however, to your point, there's like a proliferation of derivative content that is like, that's what I'm calling like the bottom of the funnel. There's like a ton of that stuff that just has become kind of like white noise. There's just tons of it. So that's, if anything, I think going to create a greater divide between like very compelling, engaging, memorable storytelling and stuff.
So you think that maybe like you can see maybe more AI usage maybe for actors in commercials where the intended use may be more traditional digital or social use versus like big campaigns where they're using linear and, you know, have a whole multimedia type of campaign going on?
I mean, so you were asking if there's more work
because, you know,
for
you're just
actors
saying
on
there's just all
social?
that stuff and there are going to be people who are just going to be using. Is that kind of what you're saying, where they may be more prone to be doing more, I don't know,
Like that the
you're-
junky stuff is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of AI generated actors.
I think so. And I don't know many people, or I don't know many brands that want to do that. Like, honestly, the stuff on social that is AI actor based is very much about the fact that it's done in AI. Like, there's so much policy coming out right now about like disclaiming that it's made in AI, and like that if it's a story that's coming from a person that's endorsing a product, it has to say this is like an AI generated person.
Who's doing that policy? I mean, definitely not
state
our
by
current
state.
government.
State by state. Yeah, there's one that like, I think New York passed the first one. There are like 3 or 4 that are being rolled out. One starting in like May or June, I can't remember. But yeah, I think they're going to be more common, and a lot of them are surrounding fake influencers, and like that having to have legal copy on it. The way a lot of people or brands on social media get around it is they make them into a cartoon. If it's like a slightly animated person, then it's like a gray area. But I think there are a lot of brands that really don't like it and are not ever going to do it, and it's not going to be replacing anything.
I mean, I think so. So I think like there's kind of the top tier, the best brands in the world where they don't want to be associated with slop, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nike, Coca-Cola.
Nike, yeah, sure, right. And then there are those, you know, smaller brands that sometimes will do like a UGC buy where they're trying to like get influencers to weigh in. I think like that there's kind of 2 categories. There's the stuff where you're just like, I've never heard of this person. They're on a fake podcast, and like maybe that messaging works, maybe it doesn't. And then the other half where it's like, oh no, I actually love this influencer and really care about what they have to say. And so when they endorse something, it really means something to me, right? And so I'm curious to see how the efficacy, like how do these spots work or not, which is always another one of my big arguments is like, you know, if people decide to buy the product and it's an AI ad, then absolutely corporations will just do that because it's easier and cheaper. But my hope is that we need to feel like a real person is telling us is using a real product in order for us to be influenced. We'll see. That's TBD. But Susan, I suspect that your fear, your apprehension is kind of in the middle of the sandwich that I'm outlining, right? Not like we're not worried about, you know, Wyden Kennedy's latest Apple campaign or whatever.
Right.
And we're not worried about, you know, somebody's nephew just cranking out 1 million AI ads and hoping that one of them works on Meta, right? We're talking about that middle, the working actor sort of zone, right?
Yeah, and also...
Sorry, yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think Oren and I are both married to actors, so we're very sympathetic to this.
Yes.
I think
Different actors.
Your first, yeah, right.
Okay.
It's LA, baby. No, a lot of the work is gone because we're just shooting other places.
You're shooting other places. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also, I mean, I know I was talking to Sarah about this too. A lot of the work is gone because of that. Also, a lot of advertisers may be doing more non-union work. So SAG actors are, competing against a whole sizable non-union crowd. Also, I know advertisers are also trying to do more influencers, right? Like we discussed.
Sure.
So there's multiple things. And then also, I know, with AI, it's another added thing of like, oh no, it's another thing that I need to be worried about or whatnot. But it sounds like from Sarah's POV that a lot of it is more AI is being used more for VFX. Anything that's more performance driven. Yeah, like you said, trying to get an actor to do nuanced performances is even hard for a real person, like human being to do, let alone a robot or whatever, synthetic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, even like things like background actors that are, background actors, it sounds like that could be something that could be possibly replaced by AI, right?
Yeah.
100%.
I keep thinking about the Lord of the Rings, like when that crowd generation technology came out and like every scene in Lord of the Rings was like 8 billion people running. And I was like, I feel like that's kind of what's happening right now, but in a new way where we're just going to see new use cases for what this is really good at. And then it'll all kind of, the water level will settle and we'll be able to see the landscape again for what it is, which is we're still making the best story we can based on a budget, a timeline, and like our vision for it. And yes, Susan, I mean, like, I do think for a lot of really, really busy talent, there is a lot of AI being used just to like, so they don't have to go to Thailand to shoot a pickup shot of a blah, 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 like digital.
Please, I don't care. I was like, I can be sleeping while my digital replica works. That's fine because I'm still getting paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did that happen to you? Did that happen to you?
No, but I wanted to. I want like multiple campaigns, and I just
We just hired James Earl Jones for our latest.
Sure. Yeah, digital replicas I think is such a funny thing.
Stuff.
Sarah, I'd love for you to weigh in. I remember when, like, again, married to an actor who was striking like every day, and so like she's just on the picket line talking to people or whatever. And there was a lot of fear about digital replicas. And I think from Oren and my perspective, I'm like, no, that's a digital double. Like,
Yeah,
you're
very
just not going to be
different.
in front of an explosion. Do you know what I mean? We're just
Exactly.
like you're just a puppet on a VFX shot so that like, no stuntman gets hurt, right?
Exactly. Or we didn't cover that one line and now we can finish
Well,
the scene or whatever.
Those
Yeah.
are two very different things though, right? Like, we didn't cover that one line, now we can finish the scene.
That's like
He's
taking
acting.
agency away from an actor.
No, an
Yeah.
actor would never not have agency over the replica though. Like it all comes down to the way you designate the use of it. So
that's
replicas
for like
are
SAG usage. That's why there's
Yeah.
more regulations for SAG for any kind of digital
I
replica.
feel like
Yeah, go ahead.
you guys have, I don't know about you, Susan. I think you're more on my side of this argument, but I feel like Sarah has way too much faith in government policy
and producers.
corporations than I do. Look at every single one of these companies that's valued, valuations are in the billions of dollars, have all stolen all this data. Like every single thing that it knows about is from stolen things. New York Times has been suing OpenAI for like 2 years. Like nothing's happening. And they're still making it. Disney now just gave up and is like, okay, Sora, give us some money. You can just have it all. Like it's inevitable. And then there's China. Like, you think they are going to care what our SAG wants? Sure. If you're George Clooney, you can be like, okay, I guess I'll do Grubhub, even though I've never done a commercial in America before. But if you're my wife, you're actively on the hunt for jobs. You're not like, oh, sorry, you guys are not like exactly doing things by this policy, or you're not filming in California. You're not like, they're still gonna, they want the jobs.
I mean, just to put
They
it in
don't have a lot of
perspective,
power.
and Oren, stop me if I've told this story already. My wife was just in a commercial that shot in December, and I was like, oh, fingers crossed it's a Super Bowl spot. We'll see. And she showed up to set. She's a redhead. And the makeup artist was like, hey, did they talk to you about your hair? And she was like, what? And they were like, I'm going to dye your hair brown right now, or we're going to call the other actor who's ready to go.
Oh my God, that sucks.
Like,
crazy.
so either you're going to have
Old
brown hair
brunette
right
Barbara
now,
over here.
or and yeah, poor brunette Barbara is like, please, redhead hat, like, and of course my wife was like, okay. They said, don't worry, it'll rinse out. She had brown hair for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, until she would,
Yeah.
but like, and I tell that story to like give you the context of like, hey, it's okay for us to add, like, put some words in your mouth. The edit might slide around a little bit. Don't worry, it's no big deal. Actors, just sign on the dotted line, right? You've been shooting verticals for 2 weeks and you're so excited to have like a commercial that pays an extra $1,000. You're going to walk away from that? You know what I mean? Or are you going to be like, well, orange seems nice. You know what I mean? Like, truly though, right? So like, I think like, you know, that's where to me, there's a big difference between facsimilating a likeness for stunt purposes or VFX purposes. But I think that the reality of like, Sarah, what you were outlining of like, shoot, we needed a pickup shot, or it would be really helpful if we had another angle.
Yeah. I mean, especially with
You know.
product copy.
Yeah.
It's so.
Which, by the way, we used to pay people to come back to pick up.
Yeah, I
that's
just
what I'm
come back
saying.
and do
Yeah.
ADR for product copy.
Is it just that it's easier for you guys? Like, you don't have to build the set. You don't need the production team, right? Like,
It all comes down to, I think like travel. I mean, for the most part, if it's like remote locations, lots of remote locations. I mean, it's
Crew
same
and
thing over and over
production
again, but
sometimes. too,
yeah,
right?
crew production. And then sometimes if there's not enough time to do something, but I would rather shoot everything always. It's way more fun. And it's way more visceral and like, you know, it will be something born on the day of the thing. And like, that's how I think film should be done, is something that's like to be made and to be realized that hasn't been, we don't know what it'll be. My friend, one of my best friends growing up, her dad is Caleb Deschanel, a cinematographer. And
But is your friend Zoe Deschanel?
Oh, have you heard of her?
She's one of the new girls.
Yeah. She is that new girl. That's right. Who's that girl?
Yeah.
Oh, Zoe.
But he always said his favorite
Reference.
thing
Thank you,
in
sister.
production was like the surprise of like what it will be like Black Beauty, having no idea what that was going to look like. And I'm like, there's such a magic in just having no control over what will be. I like that character myself in a production of just the time of day and then where you are and like what the people are going to do. I mean, that's the organic nature of filmmaking. It's just, you cannot replace that. So it's, I don't know. I think it all comes down to like why you're doing it, why you do what you do. And that is kind of the compass. It will decide everything.
Right.
And
So
if you
then-
have no
yes.
other means to do something, sometimes it's really nice to be able to like complete a word that you couldn't hear very well, you know, with a tool that just makes it perfectly.
So then would that be like, I'm curious to know, like, have you done digital like replicas of actors when they shoot commercials now?
No,
And-
but I watched a demo by a guy who does pretty awesome ones for a very famous actor who uses his body doubles to do
Mhm.
like pickup shots and like they look fab. I mean, you cannot tell at all. This was like a year and a half ago that he was showing me this, but like it looks, you not be able to tell. And then this person who is not in need of money doesn't
Johnny
have to fly.
Depp, just say it. Sorry. Am I
Doesn't
right,
need to
Sarah?
fly to wherever.
Was it Johnny Depp? Did I get
No.
it right? No. Sorry.
No,
Jack Black.
I don't want to
I'm right, everyone. I nailed it.
You're in debt.
I know it's
So
pretty
then-
surreal though to think about that though, with like people who don't want to age, you know, you
Sure.
don't have to anymore. It's like you could be a icon forever.
And
Sorry,
then what
very-
point are you using like a
Sorry.
synthetic? Is it when, like you said, you need something last minute or whatnot?
Well, it's different for every person and every different brand, and everybody has their own policy. So like I think for me a good use case of a synthetic talent would be a crowd, you know, or like background just to feel motion, like that that those types of use cases would be the same for, you know, a plugin, like a VFX plugin.
What's the VFX plugin?
There are all sorts of like, you know, Premiere has like, there's all these like different like stock versions of a crowd shot.
I imagine the
basically.
clip
Oh, I
art
see,
version
I
of
see.
it. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a library. I mean, it's kind of like library music, you know, like
Yeah.
which basically replaced like musicians for many, many, many commercials that are like, oh, we need this track by tomorrow, you know, or our editor is just going to pull some temp music and then the client likes it. Let's just go with it. And I mean, you think being an actor is hard, like try being a composer.
I don't think that any person making commercials likes that. Like, I don't think anybody prefers it. You know what I mean? I know making commercials, I'm not like, yeah, stock library. Like it's not like
Sure.
sought after.
No one. But at the end of the day, when you used to have $1 million to make a commercial and now you have $100,000 to make that same commercial, then you better bet that you're going to be using stock music, Artlist.io or something.
Absolutely. But then again, I mean, I agree with you. The budget very much dictates the outcome in a lot of these cases. But I also find in a lot of circumstances that when everybody makes something they really, really like, then they can see with their own eyes what it should be. So often with clients, they'll be like, oh, wow, we should get a really cool vintage track for this. It'll become obvious. Like, if we really want this to be great, it deserves to have blank. And it really needs the rest of the context for people to arrive at that. So I still approach everything the same way, which is like, what does it want to be? Like, if I'm completely being truthful about like what the story wants to be and like who are we talking to and how are we going to tell that story? It's like the ingredients kind of arrange themselves around that, I know that the technology is big and it's a lot of bad things went into them when they were made. And I'm like not denying that. I'm just trying to move from today, where are we? And where can we go from here and survive? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
How much of this AI stuff do you think is like client directive, or like, do you think it's more at the commercial, like at the creative agency and their production? Like, do clients even care, or are clients being like, well, you need to do this? Or
I'd love, Sarah, I'd love for you to chime in, but I'll say anecdotally, people have used it around me as a way, like as a buzzword for clients to be like, oh, don't worry, we have a affordable solution to this potential problem that we never ended up actually using, but it was just like, oh, they know how AI works, so they could fix it that way too. It's another tool in the toolkit was kind of like the move there, basically. But like I said, we didn't end up using it, so
I agree with you 100%. I think that's a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it is just being in a conversation and like showing that you're staying current. I think a lot of people are just like talking about it constantly, want to like walk the walk, talk the talk, and show that like they're evolved and that they're staying in the know. But I also know a lot of industries are constricting and like dramatically. And I think I get very post-apocalyptic I think the world is going to change a lot. So I do think a lot of brands are being really aggressive about like, use it as much as you can. How can we cut costs? How can we become more efficient?
They're trying to stay competitive too, right?
Yes. And like in all spheres at every layer, it's like, how can we use this and how can we reduce costs? And so I see that coming from a lot of brands internally and then challenging us to do the same things.
It was funny. I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and she was like, she like was working in like a lot of customer service. And she was like, we already have templates. Like, I don't need AI to write me an email for like the 6 different types of emails that I have to send clients all the time because we wrote them already. They're templates.
Right.
And I feel like there's a lot of like redundancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I've just for context, I've come full circle on it. Like at the beginning, when I first discovered AI, whenever that was a few years ago, I like made a report on it and it was called The Death of Art. And I showed it to everybody I work with and I was crying. And I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to the world. And we need to stop it. And we need to sue these people. And this needs to be stopped. And it was like, I was just really depressed, like really genuinely depressed. And like that lasted a very long time. And as I started to just accept it and like really learn like how it works and play around with it and then like try and force myself to like adopt it and think about like, well, if I was going to use it, how would I use it? I think I just kind of processed reality and then got to the point of like, okay, where do we go from here? Like knowing that like this is reality, I'm not going to go backwards. What is this really for in my ethical stance? Like where I come from as a human being, what do I think this is good for? And now in that process, what I've arrived at is like the human oversight is never going to go away. Like that is the only essential thing in any process is the human to human connection, and the person that is overseeing that message and that understands that message and that can elevate that message, connecting to another human being who fully is moved by that message. And those things, there's no reason to automate them. Like what you just described, there's absolutely no purpose. Yeah, you can do it, but we don't need that, because why would you? Because it's just as easy to write an email yourself. Like, why would I automate that? I don't want to replace my brain thinking about the thing I'm going to say. Why would I want to do that? It's the same reason I would never automate writing a script or coming up with an idea. Like, but why would I ever aspire to that? There's no win in that equation. Human oversight is the core of what we do as creative people. And once I like really understood that, like, that's 100% true, and that is, you cannot remove it, because then it's just bots talking to bots. What money is there to be made with bots talking to bots? They don't have like a soul. They don't want to go on vacation and hang out with each other.
They do hang out with each other.
I know, on that Reddit.
Yeah, mod.
And the molts.
Yeah. And I think some Waymos like park next to each other. But Sarah, I'm curious what you think. Sure, human oversight will always be necessary. Creative, that's what creativity is all about. That's the humanity, Matt. You talk about humanity will always be important, actors and all that stuff, performances. But like, if you're a grip right now, you're a gaffer, you're a script supervisor, you're a makeup artist, you do craft service, you do catering. Do you think if you're one of those people in one of those positions, kind of blue collar Hollywood job, one of hundreds of thousands, potentially a million across the world, but definitely hundreds of thousands in the US and a lot concentrated in Los Angeles, would you be worried at all about
I'd probably diversify
all these things?
I'm worried all the time. I'm constantly anxious about all of it. So yes, I would be. And I would probably diversify my side hustles, but I would still assume that I would be working, because like, I don't imagine why anyone would not shoot. Like, I cannot think of a reason.
I think the scale though, right? Like there's a huge difference between
less.
You'd shoot. Yeah. Like if it's all, for instance,
less
green
gaffers.
screen, right? If it's green screen, then there's no sets to build. You can light it with 2 people. You light it with fewer lights. You shoot for 1 day instead of 10. So that's less food that you need to eat. That's less, like it all scales down for sure. So like,
if it exists, why wouldn't I shoot it? I don't see there's a world where all of that
I think
away.
we can agree to disagree on that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely not an easier medium. It's so finicky and frustrating, and like it takes so much longer to get to something simple. So I'm like, I cannot imagine a world where that would be unnecessary.
And just to be clear, because I think all of us desperately want you to be right. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, to be clear. And I think better than we do, right? Like, I think that at least my point of reference is like the AI that because I use it quite frequently as well, but like, it's for treatments and like, kind of organizational stuff and, all of that. And so like, and then also my exposure is a lot of like, some jackass on LinkedIn, like being like, commercials are cooked. Look at this bad video I just made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so tell us, you said like, it takes so much longer. Walk us through the realities of one of these shoots, right? Because I think that maybe working at a high level and delivering what you need to deliver will kind of help illuminate what we're talking about, right?
I mean, you need like such a powerful machine, first of all. Like the amount of processing it takes is like huge, and then a lot of time.
But let's start at the beginning. Oh, Sarah, we just got a brief in. A client wants a new spot, right? Here's a new product. Like, are you guys ideating? And if so, are you ideating things that would only work in AI or would work better in AI? Or walk us through the very genesis of it.
Well, what I usually do is I think about it. I slice it like 4 different ways. So I think about like, what's the budget? How do I max it out? And I know for me, like on a project, like I really want talent to be focal. I want the performance to be focal. I want these certain performances to be focal. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a hypothetical. And then I really want the stunts to be in camera, something like that. I also have like an insane location that would be like travel, like it would cost so much money. So I know I'm probably going to try to do that either with an AI generation, or I'm going to try and maybe I'm going to generate the whole thing in like all of the locations in AI. And that's going to be a Laura I'm going to train. So I'm going to I really want this look that's like, French 90s magazine style, whatever it is. So I'm like going to train Laura. So it's all going to look like this thing. So that's one approach I might have. Another approach I might have is like, okay, maybe I'm going to make it very small scale, very intimate. And I'm just going to do a 1-day shoot. We're going to go to one location that's got 5 different types of rooms. And like, that's going to be all of my budget. And I'm not going to have the big location. So both of those are cool. Both of those spots are cool. I think it's like, if you tackle it in that way, you're kind of like watching it in your head and you're thinking about like, which one's the better spot? What's the heart of the story? What's the tone of it? What requires more cleanup? So it's like everything is its own equation, It's always a compliment though. And as soon as it takes over, as soon as like a medium is leading, you failed. Like it's not creative anymore.
But correct me if I'm wrong, you're working specifically in AI, right? So like, would they be disappointed if you were like, well, we should just shoot this in a bedroom?
Well, I direct in all things, mostly live action.
Sure. But I mean, specifically, you were saying like you were kind of heading up the creative side of this AI.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
When something is done in AI, it's never the whole thing. It's usually for post, and so it's a supplement to a production. And the stuff that has been like, there have been a few projects that have come through that were almost going to be all in AI, and there was like a lot of hesitation, either internally or from a brand that's like, because like stock photography is like pretty comparable in cost. So there's not really a real motive necessarily. And the other side of it is like the ownership piece, for something to be ownable, you have to be able to have created it. And therefore it's like, you have to go through quite a few steps in order to make something in AI ownable that almost like erases the need in some cases to do it at all. Should we do that, or should we just use stock?
Can't we just send Tim to go shoot the plates?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Susan,
Oren,
what else you got? I feel like
I wanted to ask
I
Oren
felt like I was taking
question.
over for a second, so I was like,
No, Susan.
No, please do.
This is a podcast.
yeah.
People always. I should put it in my spiel. People are always like, "Am I talking too much?" And the answer is no. It's a podcast.
No,
You're
we
here
are
to talk.
talking too much.
We are talking too
We
much.
literally get notes on comments that we talk too much and interrupt people too
That's true. That's true. Though I'll bring it up now. Oren, did you read the comments on our Sergio and Christina?
Did they say we didn't interrupt enough?
They were like, multiple people said that, because Sergio was mostly talking in the clips that we pulled, that we were AI. They're like, it looks like 3 AI jerks listening to Sergio. Multiple people said that.
Wow.
And so like, I'm like trying to actively listen and like.
I should try making a podcast with an AI with the
sounds like
Sarah Midbates synthetic folks.
Oh my gosh. Somebody asked me if I made my podcast in AI, and I was like, why would I want to do that? That'd be the reason.
And who would listen? Who would listen? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I do think like just as 2 takeaways from this conversation, one acting related, which is I do think you kind of said this in a different way, Sarah. If you're an actor and you're up against the AI, the synthetic actors, like if you're debating whether to do it as scripted, kind of as expected, or putting your own like crazy Melissa McCarthy spin on it, I would put the spin on. Like be you, because the AI is really good at making generic accountant character, hunky boyfriend, like
well, it doesn't
scared
have taste,
cheerleader,
right? So I think like you don't, or and I like this pitch, but also like the subtle version of that is just as good. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, but finding nuance or kind of making choices that you don't think that the average of,
not the first choice.
Yeah, if you're playing a teacher, that it's not the average. Because I mean, my wife as an actor, sometimes she's like, I just feel like they wrote it like this and it's so specific and I should just do it like this and we'll do a take. And I'm like, hey, every actor is going to do this. Like, you gotta like, let's just, or at least let's send a second take where you're just flipping the table over,
you 100% should do that. Yeah.
I did that last time And then I just did a risk with this one character. And then my manager was like, yeah, we're just going to send the first take. And I was like, that's fine. Yeah,
well, but your manager's
that's
not
fine.
watching the other 99 tapes, though.
That's
yeah.
true.
So
I
true.
know.
Yeah.
Matt, Sarah, and I have
Right.
probably watched way too many auditions.
So always
Um,
add in a crazy teacher. And that
No, my
very
wife-
subtle.
My wife's secret, which we give away on the podcast every episode, is that she always comes in with some business. You know, she's a server on an
Right,
audition for
it's
Law
like
and
that.
Order. She's always
Yeah.
like Mikey, the order. You know, it's a linguine, not the fettuccine or whatever. She always like kind of comes in with like a little attitude. You know, at the head of the scene. You know, buttons are who cares about a button? Like 90% of us don't make it to the end of the audition.
Oh, really? Oh, no. I love my buttons.
Um,
Larry!
No, I
Yeah.
I like a button. I like a button, and I
Yeah.
think it is a good.
no,
enough-
yeah, keep the button too, but
Yeah.
also
Start off
bring
with
something-
business.
Start,
Yeah.
start strong for sure.
And
Yeah.
especially if it's like a dramatic scene and it's like just really kind of emotional up front, it's like really hard to earn that, you know? And I think if 10 great actors are auditioning, then it's going to start being like the look and the, like all these things that, you know, and I've met actors that book. I used to did this show with Alison Brie, and like she's like so good. You could have her audition for a part that you would never in a million years select her for, and she would probably book it, you know, because they just bring some special sauce to it. So I don't know. So I think that's like one takeaway is just like extra special sauce in the casting. If you don't want to be like just replaced by a generic synthetic actor. And then my second guess, but it's a weak guess, is that like production value is going to just become a lot less important, and not just for us as filmmakers or clients, but like humans. I mean, we already seen this on social media. I worked with this guy, Jason Derulo, who's like an influencer pop star guy. And he had told me, and he when I worked with him, he was like the 14th most popular person on TikTok. And I was like, what do you shoot your stuff on? And he's like, dude, I own an Alexa, like $100,000 Alexa package with like master primes and all this stuff. And I shot like 5 videos with it and 0 views. Switched back to the iPhone. That's it. Back to the millions of views.
Yeah, but I think the other way of saying that is that authenticity is important, right? So in the same way that like adding that humanity is there, right?
Right.
Like,
I think
But
it's
so that's for
different
social
on
media,
social, though.
kind of.
Yeah.
But I think the production value thing is, it's just going to be every fucking football game has the 10,000 people in the crowd. You know,
Mhm.
every person walking down the street, there's 80 extras. Every car chases like crazy angles, you know, right on by the
Totally.
tire.
It's like, this is so crude. It's like sex on ecstasy. I feel like it's like when you're numbed out, it's kind of like, where do you go from there? It doesn't mean anything anymore. And therefore, how does art evolve? It's it's like we're going to react to that and something new will come out of it. That's what
Yeah.
I think is exciting about it. It's like, it doesn't mean creativity dies because there's a proliferation of like shiny shit. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean talent goes away. Okay, there are a ton of startup services. Like Luma AI is one of them that's offering, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Dream Machine. You put in a brief and then it generates all of the scripts. It generates
Sure,
all of
sure,
the
sure, sure.
commercials. It generates all of the out of home boards. It
That I
generates
ain't
all the
about.
social media
Generates all the
ads.
I'm not
sales.
worried about that at all. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think of that as the threat, though, is like that content is the threat. That person that uses that was never going to hire Susan anyway.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't
Yeah.
have,
Susan, you're too good for
Oh
that
my
person.
gosh. I'm a
True.
SAG actor. I'm just kidding.
they
Yeah.
were never going to watch it themselves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think of it as kind of a similar equation.
I'm hoping it's like VR, you know?
Mhm.
We'll get to a place like 5 years from now, it'll be like, I don't know why we're worried. It is just for VFX, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, yeah, or we won't even have to write that because our Claude bots will do it for us.
Oh, I
Um,
know. When all of our bots are just, I mean, what will we do when all the bots are the ones talking to each other?
We're
and we
gonna
don't-
Wally. We're gonna Slurpee on our
Oh,
I guess, right?
Guys, that's the good version. An egalitarian world where we're all just kind of like boring and entertained is the good. Like I said, the good version. Like the people making this stuff, they're not like out there to help us. Like none of this is like for the good of mankind. We're not going to live. We're not headed towards the Star Trek universe, guys. We're headed towards the Star Wars universe, right?
I know.
Like-
You think it's more Terminator?
Yeah.
I used to think that was good. The goal is like efficiency is the most important thing. And now with all this AI stuff and just seeing things just become a million times more efficient, I realized that the goal is not efficiency. It's like purpose, like humans need purpose. And I think
maybe AI radicalized Oren a little bit.
It did. It definitely swung me way left on this thing. And Ezra Klein had this pretty good episode about, he was talking about how people would rather like have jobs that are not important, like maybe working in kind of dying natural resource, mining it or something, then they'd be happier having that job than having the government give them money. Like, hey, we're going to take down this coal mine, but we're going to give you all the money that you were going to get. We're just going to send you a check every month. It's like in Alaska, how they get like oil for just sitting there. And he was saying that like, and a lot of, he was talking about it in the context of like policy, like kind of Democratic versus Republican policy, and how, Democrats are kind of very much for equality and equal opportunities and giving people money that maybe don't have the same opportunities. And I think kind of people on the right are a little bit more about like every, liberty and every person for themselves. And you should have the freedom to do what is right for you without having to subsidize other people. But he talked about how just from a humanity point of view, the people that are asked to work and get paid for that work are just much happier than the people that are given money.
Totally. I used to be a therapist, and if you gave away therapy, people wouldn't show up. They had to, if they paid $1, they would work because they would care, they would be invested in it.
Right. And so the AI where it's like, hey, good, Mr. Jones, you work at the IRS. Congratulations. We're going to keep paying you your monthly fee, but now a robot is going to do your job and 10 other people's jobs way faster, audit more people, and you get to just go to Mexico on vacation. Like, this guy is now like super depressed. Has no purpose,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my big picture fear of like AI in the world, not just film related, is like, are we going to have work left to do?
Well, I think there's also like an opposite kind of current that is so massive in the world, which is like the telepathy tapes and like consciousness, and what is the beginning of life, and like what is the beginning of the soul, and like.
Sorry, I have no idea what the telepathy tapes are.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That is
hold
like
on. Let me tell you with my
essential
mind.
homework to listen to that show.
Well, okay.
You have to listen to the entire thing.
Am I in the dark here? Everyone else knows that.
No, I don't know. I was
tapes?
like, what is telepathy?
Okay.
We always say,
Emails.
of course, yes, the telepathy tapes. Sure. Yeah.
The most shared and
I read
number one podcast of 2025 on Apple, and most shared podcast on Apple 2025. Most shared single episode also on Apple 2025. Has changed the world and everything I know about it. For me, it's like changed my life. I talk about it nonstop with everybody I can possibly share it with. Just listen up until at least episode 7.
What is it?
It is all based on like research, a lot of Stanford research, a lot of Cambridge research, and it's about consciousness. So the pyramid of science is
one
now
guy from
flipped
Cal
upside
State
down.
Fullerton.
Oh, okay.
And now what we used to think was like life starts with, the brain and animals and biology. And now what has happened to the pyramid of science is like it all starts with consciousness. Consciousness was the first thing.
Yeah.
And
AGI.
then everything came after that. So all of that has so many amazing ramifications, and it has changed the way I think about everything. But it really, what it comes down to is like energy and how we are all connected. So that is so exciting, and it's so powerful and so wonderful. And what it has created for me, and what I talk about on my podcast a lot, is just the energy that you bring to anything you do, and how like that very much embodies it with its power to connect to other people. So for me as an artist, what that means is the more I can feel truly embodied and passionate about what I do while I am doing it, the more strongly that will connect to other people. And I know for people in my audience that there's like a huge movement of people that are also kind of waking up from what I think is like the popular paradigm right now, which is like very masculine energy of like manifestation and like I'm going to achieve and I'm going to get so much wealth and I'm going to like make all the money and get the highest title.
Cold plunge.
That is not actually what gets people to a stage of like feeling very rewarded and happy. And I think a lot of people right now are waking up to like, maybe I don't actually want this like super type A, like over scheduled life.
And jump into a cold bath.
Yeah. Maybe I actually want to like be, I want to do practices for not a lot of money and like put on like a performance that's very like new and weird that not a lot of people are going to like. And like, but I love when I do it. Like, so the energy itself is the currency. And I think that movement is becoming so much bigger. I'm excited for you guys to listen to that podcast, because if you ever get depressed about like the news and the world, like that will make you feel so excited and optimistic about humanity.
Also the Melania doc. She's such a sweetheart.
And the
Well, on that note, guys,
on the note of connecting,
do you guys have a second to
on the note of connecting, do you guys, if people want to connect with you all, are you guys online? Is there a place that people can find you?
Yeah, where's the best way to find me? I guess you could
Instagram?
go to yaywithme.com. It's probably the easiest. That's my podcast website. That's got all my creative work.
Yay with me?
Or you can go to sarahmaybates.com. Those are my two
What?
URLs.
I didn't even know about this.
For me, you can, I guess I have an Instagram, SUJJANG012, Sujang012.
Oh, come on.
What?
That's SUJJANG012.
Susan.
Hashtag underscore.
You gotta update that. That's gotta be.
Oh shit! I know, right?
Do you know how many bookings you didn't get because people can find you?
For real, we do look
That's
at
what I
people's
want.
Instagrams. No, we
But
do.
I
We
don't
do
want
look
you.
at,
Yeah, I don't
because
want.
I need to know what you look like. I don't care about you
You
first.
see my audition and
Audition?
and
No, but
Yeah.
we want to
You
see
still
what
need
you
to
look
know what
like
I
in a suit.
Yeah.
With
I
next
don't
to a
post suit
dog.
photos. It's you don't want to see.
In
I'm
a
just kidding.
Walmart commercial.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you're
just like
on it right
sometimes.
now.
Yeah, you're like, oh wait, does she look kind of young? It's hard to know. Or like, hold on, you just kind of
Right.
need to
Is
look.
she
Funny reels.
college?
That's what I always look up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She
Are
been to
you funny?
Flavortown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So change my Insta handle.
yeah. I mean, make it
I mean,
a little
it's
bit.
fine. It's fine. They're easy to find.
Whatever. Look up Susan's song. No, is it weird that I actually don't? You know, you
You don't
don't.
want people to find you?
I guess they all look right.
I think,
when you're booking
yeah,
jobs.
not to derail us, but like, I think that there is the reality of like, sometimes we're looking because we're trying to make a final decision. We don't look at everybody's. It's like, we're in
Right,
between
right.
two people. I think Susan could be
Yeah.
the one. Let me
Susan
see if
play
I
a
can.
mom, or does she seem too
Yeah, hold
young?
on. Let me see. Like it's for your benefit. So like I don't post about my kids. Like, I used to have 2 Instagrams, but it was too much work. If you're an actor, I think it's worth it to have one that you're okay with being public facing, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
No feet pics on that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
unless that's your thing.
Yeah.
Unless-
I've got a New Balance
right.
campaign coming up, so that's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, Subway. Well, do you guys have a minute to endorse something?
I think
You
I
know,
endorsed
money with us?
my thing.
Sure.
I'm
Enjoy
obsessed
it.
with
Sarah,
you went
telepathy
hard.
tapes.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Oh
true.
yeah, that is. You can double down on it.
Unpaid endorsements.
Awesome. So I've got 2 unpaid endorsements. One is I just saw Send Help today, you guys.
Oh, where'd you see it? How'd you see that?
I saw it at the Regal in North Hollywood.
In a movie theater?
40X, baby. And it was so fun.
What time did you watch
I
this
heard
movie?
it was
At
really
150.
good.
It's really good. But for the
Yeah.
uninitiated, we like played hooky today, basically. For the uninitiated, 40X is like, it's a premium format screen. It like rocks you around, but also sprays like fog. If you're underwater, there's bubbles in the air.
Oh.
And it squirts you with water anytime there's rain, blood, vomit,
Ooh.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Send Help has got it all, baby. It's like
Ooh.
it's a Sam Raimi movie.
I love Amy.
And it's real Raimi-y. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and
I've heard great things.
I would advocate because it's so campy, getting squirted in the face while somebody is
Someone might be
stabbing someone
vomiting.
or whatever.
Lily,
Yeah.
that's a good clip for the Instagram.
There we go. It was really fun. So Send Help. I think it would be great not in 3D and not with a moving chair and pyrotechnics, but
Always in 3D.
I think almost always, yeah, I think so. But it's always just kind of like whatever like the big movie of the week is, more or less. And it's not a cheap movie ticket, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
And then Melania Doc and 40X also.
Whoa.
Just call back to that.
Yeah, a lot of retching in that one too.
Wait, did you watch that for real?
I know, but I read some reviews. I think I get it.
And then my other endorsement is it's kind of a twofer as well. there's a Nashville musician named Nick Lutsko, Lutsko, who I think I maybe have endorsed on the show before. I think he's quite funny. He's like a funny little lyricist. He's a funny lyricist, and like kind of went viral a few years ago, which is how I first found him. Like he dresses up like a gremlin sometimes. He has a running gag where he talks about how he wishes there was another Gremlins movie. Anyway, he wrote the song for the Manscaped Super Bowl spot.
Prelorian spot.
The Prelorian brothers did it. It's so good. And it's like basically like clumps of hair. Like
I
on the bathroom
love
floor,
that spot so much.
singing.
so funny.
And it's like a sad song about like, oh, you know, we used to be together. You were my best friend, like anthropomorphized hair. So that spot's great. So funny. And also Nick Lutsko, I realized, was the person who wrote that spot. And he's saying he's one of the hairballs, basically.
The voices, the thing that stood out to me was the voice talent was so spectacular.
So
like incredible singers in that spot.
Yeah.
Really, and the stop motion or whatever they did was so cute and adorable.
Yeah, it's pretty excellent. So those are my two. Yeah.
Those guys that made that spot, the Prelorian brothers, do you know them? They actually do make really funny AI.
Yeah, they're great.
AI. Sarah, what you got?
Man, you gave such good ones. I'm going to give a shout out to it's not out yet, pending documentary on UPA, which is like a mid-century animation company that was like down the river from Disney.
Yeah. Cool.
I just went to see like at the Old Town Music Hall in El Segundo, which is my hood. I went to see a film festival of old UPA cartoons with like a panel of like David Silverman. I forgot his name. He's the director of a lot of Simpsons episodes and also the Simpsons movie. Mm-hmm. He was one of the panelists. A bunch of nerds, and they were just nerding out hard on like animation and this guy and this one story and and then he said it's like one of the most amazing environments. But one of the cartoons that just blew my mind, Rudy Toot Toot. It is like the most incredible. It looks like it was made today, like a Barry McGee style animated cartoon. All of their cartoons are very musical, and like the musical narration, it creates all the action, and like the music is so raw and like jazzy and like I had a lot of brass. It was so inspiring. That was my favorite cartoon of the night, and I'd never seen it, and I was like, I want to show this to my kids. Highly recommend all of their cartoons, but that Rudy Toot Toot, just amazing. That's one. And then watch the documentary whenever it comes out, because I'm sure it'll cover a lot more really cool stuff. And then I know this is random, but I just read Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird, which is, she's a writer, famous writer, but like it's a book written for writers. And it was like, it's just written in a way that like really gets to the heart of like the pain of the creative process and like picking yourself up again and like waiting for feedback and like being in that vulnerable stage of putting your heart on the line and like wanting so bad to make something that's good and not being able to control that process. And it's funny. It's so funny. Have you read it before, Matt? No,
you know what's so funny, Sarah, is that there's a copy back here, I'm sure. It was assigned to me freshman year screenwriting, and I never read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I know
thought this was a movie.
I think it's like a sacred text. I think like people really, really love it.
It's
and
so
Sarah, I think I might pull it off the shelf if I can.
Oh man, you're gonna love it. I've underlined it more than like most things I've ever read.
Yeah, people truly like it's deep.
Yeah.
I've slept on it for 20 years. What a chump.
Yeah. Telepathy tapes and that. Those are my
homework.
1,000 thumbs ups.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks. Susan, what you got?
I also probably have Bird by Bird somewhere, and I never read it. It's highly recommended.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's highly. It's one of those, Okay, after this day after Super Bowl, and guess who's back? All right,
Backstreet Boys.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I saw their concert at the Sphere, and
oh my
awesome.
God,
like
lucky!
One of the best. It was so good, and I feel like the Sphere is also. I don't know, is it 40x? But it was like
it's even more
39x. And I think this weekend's are the last scheduled, but I'm pretty sure they're going to come back again in the summer. I don't know. Have you guys seen a show at this year?
No, I want to see the Cosm.
Oh,
I got kicked out of the Cosm actually, but
or square.
How'd you get kicked out of the Cosm?
Let's just say the moms were not regulating the children and
Is it-
cocktails.
What is is the cosm like the LA sphere, or what is
Yeah.
the cosm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We went to see Cirque du Soleil and it was pretty impressive. Yeah, we didn't stop the kids and they were playing and we got kicked out.
You're like, all right, sorry, gotta go. Cool. All right.
But yes, that was an amazing show. You should go check it out. And they're
That would
all over
be
the place. They were like
awesome.
in 2 Super Bowl spots, weren't they? Or it was the Coinbase song.
I saw
yeah,
And
the
then
teaser and then the T-Mobile, yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
With the sphere, they never do it without the band. You can't just like watch a concert film there, right? Or is it?
They do like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, they've been playing Wizard of Oz there.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
and I think that one has effects like for 48.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's an inflatable flying monkey. I've seen pictures of. Kaplan, what you got?
I follow this person on Instagram. I think I mentioned her before. Her account name is Stuff About Advertising. She like one thing she does to ideate when she gets when she's trying to come up with a campaign for a brand is she tries to think about who would hate that brand or who would hate that product and like what they would say about that product. And is there an angle from there? It's like kind of the default thing is like, let's talk about what's great about this product, but there's something fun about approaching the creative from the opposite direction. And
like
on
the
Manscaped,
the Mucinex guy.
yeah, exactly. And on Manscaped, it's like, who would hate
I love him.
a razor, that shaves your body hair off? Well, the body hair.
The body hair, sure.
Like, so and I just thought it was like
it's like a little Toy Story too, right?
Yeah, like an insightful way to like sometimes when you're trying to come up with like an angle on how to, write about something, it can be useful to just look at how to write against that something, come up with fun ideas. So Stuff About Advertising. I've been following her forever. She is very insightful and she reviews like ads and campaigns, and I like her point of view.
Follow her. Sounds cool.
Well, cool. Well, if you guys have anything you want to tell us about, you are our listeners I'm talking to, you can email us at justshootitpod@gmail.com. We're across all social media at justshootitpod. I'm on Instagram at @okaplan.
And I'm at Mr. Maddenlow across all social media, including Letterboxd. This episode is edited by Kevin Oyang. Thanks, Kevin. Social media is by Lily Bouvier. Thanks, Lily. Produced by Tyler Schmell. Thanks, Tyler. And you're listening to music provided by the Free Music Archive and the artist Jizar. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.